What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel, where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, put it on all so that you can get notified the very moment that we drop any new blogs, any new material on this channel. So without further ado, let's get into it. So over this past week, we've been seeing a bit of media stuff for Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder, the third fight. I've talked about this in previous videos, and yeah, we've had the press conference, sort of the kickoff press conference for it, and you know, both guys turned up, and Deontay Wilder was a big talking point of the press conference, and that was because basically he didn't say very much. He said absolutely nothing during the main sort of portion of it. He did make one speech saying, "Now it's time to chop off his head. There will be bloodshed. I want it back in blood." And he was doing this little sort of poetry thing, which was, you know, it was ABC stuff. It was like a couple of little rhymes and, you know, I'm gonna chop off his head, there's gonna be bloodshed, and etc, etc. And then he practically just had a pair of headphones on, probably Beats by Dre or whatever, and he was literally just sitting there next to Malik Scott, dead quiet, silent, all the way through the whole press conference. And I, for one, believe that this is a case of, it's a case of perhaps trying to keep Fury out of his head, so to speak, similar to what I think what Teddy Atlas was saying on his podcast, on his The Fight podcast. You know, I sort of lean in towards the direction of that, where he was saying that, look, it's probably a case of Deontay Wilder trying to keep Tyson Fury out of his head, because obviously the way that Fury got into his head in the previous fights certainly worked for Tyson Fury, certainly worked in his favor. He's a great guy when it comes to talking, when it comes to mind games, when it comes to winding people up and get, you know, basically getting Wilder to be aggressive. Tyson Fury is very slick with that. He's good with the words, good with talking. You know, that is his that aspect of fighting, that those mind games, that mental side of it, the promotion side, the talking side, that is all the way through Tyson Fury. That is what he's good at, and that's what works for him. That's what Tyson Fury is. He's just naturally good at the talking and stuff. So I think the wearing of the headphones, there's been many people who have said that Wilder was terrified of Tyson Fury. He was scared of him, and that's why he's wearing the headphones and not saying anything, because basically he's scared and he doesn't want this and blah blah blah. But I disagree with that sentiment. I think there may be some element of fear there, but I think the main thing with it is that it's kind of a tactic, at least in my view, to sort of sort of not give Tyson Fury any fuel, because I think Fury is one of those guys that's a good talker, and he's also a guy that sort of feeds off of what you say to him, because you could see when in Wilder's case here, he just shut his mouth completely, didn't say a word. Even the lady that was trying to prompt him, the lady from the media, was trying to ask questions of him, and Fury was saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to answer the questions on his behalf, how he would answer it or whatever," and Wilder just kept his mouth shut, and Tyson Fury ended up sort of going back and forth with Malik Scott. He said a few things to Malik Scott that, you done nothing as a boxer, so therefore you can't train, you can't teach him to do anything because you done nothing as a boxer, blah blah blah. Malik Scott rightly responded and said, "Well, your trainer hasn't done nothing as a boxer either. He hasn't done anything. Sugar Hill wasn't nothing as a boxer. He's just Emmanuel Stewart's nephew." And he's right. Yeah, he, of the two, definitely Scott's at least done something more. He's definitely fought some good names in boxing. So he's done his bit in boxing. And as we know, anyone that knows about boxing knows that it's not about when it comes to coaching, at least, normally 9 out of 10 times, the best coach wasn't the best boxer, and the best boxer normally doesn't become the best coach. That's normally the way it works. So it really, as when it comes to coaches, normally they weren't the best boxers. Normally they weren't world champions. There's few that are, like Buddy McGirt and trainers of that nature. But for the most part, you look at the good trainers, they weren't the greatest boxers. Angelo Dundee, you look at Freddie Roach, you look at people like that. I think Manny Stewart, he was a good amateur or something, but most of them ain't. So Tyson Fury was just winding them up. He was saying, I've busted Wilder's eardrum and your eardrum, so ha ha ha. It's just sort of making a mockery out of Malik Scott, as Malik Scott tried to his best to respond to Tyson Fury during the course of this press conference, but it didn't really work, because again, Fury's he's got that gift of the gab. He's a gifted talker. He's brilliant with the insults, and he's quick-witted. And a guy like Malik Scott, he's not on that level. He's not like that. He seems more quiet, more subdued, and more sort of a calm guy, relaxed guy. He's not on this, rear and rearing up and talking smack. He's a calm guy. So when it come to this press conference, it was all one-sided. All Tyson Fury just talking his smack and saying what he's going to do to Wilder, this, that, and the other. And, that's all it was. And the key part of it came when they said, all right, we're stopping the questions now and we'll have the face-off. And, of course, the face-off was another part which was important. You could tell both guys really were up for it. You could tell both guys sort of wanted to, quote-unquote, win this moment. Because they both stood there for a long time. The face-off lasted about 5 minutes. And, you could tell Deontay Wilder was really taking it seriously, because he took off his glasses and was like, looking in Fury's eyes. He looked very serious. And at these things, it's always a competition. And in boxing, you get some guys who really want to stand there and win the face-off, and that's their game. And when they win the face-off and the other guy turns away, they feel that's a win for them. And you've got other guys who are not that bothered about the face-off, and they can just walk away and not engage in a long stare down. But with Wilder and Fury, both of them, you could tell at this point, both wanted to win the face-off. And both of them standing there 5 minutes, Fury just swinging his arms a little bit, Wilder just looking him in his face. And then, boom, after that 5 minute period, they started saying, we've got to go now, who's going to stop this, blah, blah, blah. And it was just Fury just standing there, Wilder just standing there. And then eventually, Wilder broke. He just turned away from Tyson Fury. And then started walking away, and Team Fury started saying, you're all muppets or dusters or whatever they like to say. And for me, at least, the mental edge now is definitely with Tyson Fury, because I think you could tell when it came to that face-off, both guys wanted to win it. Both guys, weren't willing to walk away. And it was a case in this one of, first one to buckle, first one to blink or to look away loses. And that's what happened with Deontay Wilder. He looked away, and he sort of walked off in a serious thing. And you could tell that for Tyson Fury, that's now going to give him a bit more confidence that there you go, you blinked, you buckled, you looked away, you walked away from me, you couldn't even stand with me. And you can guarantee, as the media goes on, as the weeks go on, Fury is going to be winding him up about that and whatnot, because it's all mind games. And I think Wilder, he would have liked to have won that stare down. He would have liked to have been the last man standing. And I think Fury, in his head, he didn't want to give him even that little victory. So it's like, it's one of them where it's not really the fight. What counts is what goes on when they're in the ring, but it's a mental thing. It's important for the fighters mentally that I made you turn away, and that if that gives you that little edge, then that's a big thing for you. So that's just my thoughts on it, on the press conference and everything. Very strange one. Wilder's normally brash, he's normally braggadocious, he's normally got a lot to say, but I suppose in a way he might have been humbled a little bit, and he might just be focusing on the fight. I think with Wilder, this whole headphone thing, I don't think it really worked per se, but I do think that it might have just been a case where they're just trying to focus on the fight. So he's trying to just save all his energy, save all that he's got, save all the talking, save everything, save every bit of his energy for when they step through the ropes. I'm thinking that that's probably what it is with the headphones. But anyway, let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. And until next time, this is MKO Pugilism over and out. I'll catch you on the next one.